Is the reason you're not seeing progress in your physique because you're centering your whole life around the gym? Well, I've been training for 12 years now, and I've only built a decent physique in the last few years. It's all because I started doing one thing: less. In fact, I currently only train for 2 days a week. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why the typical methods of 4, 5, 6 days of training per week is broken. Why you can be doing the training, the diet, doing everything right on paper, but still looking like you did 2 years ago. And why the answer might be to actually stop focusing on the gym. Now, this is basically the complete opposite of what the entire fitness industry will tell you, who say you just need to keep training more, obsessing over the gym, pushing harder, and just letting the gym take over your life. But over the last few years, I've designed a new way where you don't have to be slugging it in the gym every single day, and you can get all your training done in just a couple days per week. And so you can actually live your life and center the gym around it rather than the other way around. I call this the lifestyle body. This is the same system I use for pretty much every guy I work with now. Now, before we get stuck in, I've put together a full mini course to show you how to get way more energy and live an overall better life. It's a 2-minute daily read that'll get sent straight to your inbox for the next 3 weeks. So if you want to grab that, it'll be in the description below. So the first problem with the typical training approach is that you've been sold a lie. And the lie is that doing more will equal better results. And to show you this, I have a glass and a bag of pasta. This is green pea pasta, if you're wondering. So this glass represents everything your body can handle on a week-to-week basis. So this is going to be anything that puts stress or strain or demand on your body or your mind. So I'm going to start adding things to the week and fill this up. So we'll start with your job. So 10 hours at work. The commute, 45-minute meeting with fucking Helen, drinking, subpar sleep, caffeine consumption, general day-to-day worries on, finance and bills and debts. Bit much. So now what we're going to do is add on a typical training split. So to go down the middle, I'm just going to call it 4 days of training because that seems to be quite popular right now. So we'll do getting ready, driving to the gym, warming up, training, 6, 7, 8 exercises, probably 4 sets on each. So we'll call that 1 day, right? So now what I would do... So now what I would do is add in 3 more days, but here's the catch. Each day on top of the next one is going to be progressively more strain because you're still carrying a lag. So you could actually add on 20% of more stress and demand on the body each day that goes on. So if you imagine that I added a second day, now a third day, now a 4th day, now a 5th day. Right, so as you can see, anything that you add on top is just going to overflow because you can't actually recover from the training. So what is this overflow? Well, it comes in first in the form of fatigue and feeling tired and drained. And then this is slowly going to build up into niggles and then lower mood. And then eventually it will be injury, which for most people, they will end up having some sort of injury, whether serious or whether you get away with it. So as you can see, the more that you train, the more demand that you're going to be putting on your body. And I'd say for 95% of people, anything more than 3 days a week is just going to be way too much. But this is only the first problem. This actually gets so much worse. So a few years ago, I was really into running. So I was doing 5Ks probably 2-3 times a week on top of, my 4 or 5 days of training. So I was getting up at about 5 o'clock to go out. And I got this one morning and it was all going fine. I got about 3 kilometers in and suddenly my ankle just seized up. to a point where it wouldn't move. So I had to pretty much half limp a mile home at fucking 5:30 in the morning. So I pretty much ended up in a support boot for about 3 months. So my ankle started to recover and my mood slowly was creeping up. But probably because I felt so shit at the time, I decided to just book a trip traveling. So long story short, I ended up in Southeast Asia and had a freak accident where I ended up basically breaking my knee. So now I've got a recovering ankle and a fucking knee. Now I had sorted myself out and I decided to stop drinking. And one day I was training biceps, trying to hit some PRs, and I just felt this like crunch. And I just fucking knew. I tore my bicep for the 3rd time. So 3 injuries within 12 months. And this actually put me on the path to where I pretty much couldn't train at all. So I ended up thinking, what is the most I can get away with? And I ended up settling on 2 days a week. And this for me was when this minimalist, 2 days of training was actually born, just out of pure necessity. So once I started actually, getting some bicep strength back, being able to do, a little bit of legs and stuff, I made more progress in this time than I had, even with the injuries, probably in the last 3 years. And I'm not going to lie, I did not expect this to happen at all. Okay, so the final problem, this is what no one in the fitness industry is going to tell you. So I want you to think of the most jacked guy you know. So he's probably down your gym. You probably see him every time you're in there. So, we can guess that he's probably in there 6 days a week, maybe every day. And now I want you to picture this guy's life outside of the gym. He's living out of a Tupperware box, walking around with constant nagging injuries, missing, quality family time because you're at the gym every night. I've been there. It fucking sucks. Do you know what it's like for your Johnson to not work? Like, I had joint pain. I couldn't sleep properly. Like, there's so many symptoms of and trade-offs of looking good that people don't tell you. But they call this fitness and health. Like, the idea of health being, obsessed with the gym just to get fucking biceps and some ab veins. Like, your dick not working. Does that sound like fitness? I've been working with a guy recently who hadn't really made any progress in about 2 years. He was training 5 days a week. He was basically doing everything like a bodybuilder, felt like shit, but was skinny fat. Yeah, I'm not surprised he felt shit looking skinny fat. So straight away, we cut the sessions down to 2 days a week and aligned his training and his diet and everything around his life and just started to live again. And he's actually made probably some of the best gains of his life in the first couple of months. And this same thing happened to me. I went from training 5-6 days a week to training only twice, and everything improved. My energy was so much better. My mood improved drastically. My anxiety pretty much dropped. I was actually had time to properly look after my nutrition. So I started improving my testosterone. And so the health and fitness mindset side has been a godsend. But the real gains I made were in my actual life. So the way I see a man should live is what I call the natty sweet spot. So there's 7 facets. So there's your body, your hormones, your actual health, your peace, your energy, your mental health, and your happiness. But if you think of the typical fitness bro training approach, it only focuses on body and just neglects everything else. So a bodybuilder will ruin his energy, he will fuck his hormones, he will lower his happiness and his mood. And if you look at their life, all they do is work, gym, sleep, work, gym, sleep, work, gym, sleep. They have no life, no hobbies. I give up my passion in music for years because I thought I had to commit and sacrifice everything for training. And what this does is just takes all the enjoyment out of your life. So this is why I created the Lifestyle Buddy. I spend most of my time now chilling with family or seeing friends or doing shit I like, which is usually going for saunas or going for walks. I've finally started producing again. In fact, I've just started DJing, which is something I've wanted to do for the longest time. So get at me for early bookings, Tomorrowland. All right, so here's how my training looks now. So Monday, first day of the week, I train. Tuesday, Wednesday is rest. Thursday, I train. And that's sort of it. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is just living life. You know, having Friday to Sunday every week, it's just opened up my social life. And this works whether you're working on a busy schedule, whether you just want to spend more time with family and friends, whether you want to go traveling. This works for pretty much any occasion. Now, if you want help putting this together, this is why I built Limitless. So if you want to see how this could work for you to actually improve your life, just click the first link in the description. All right, so now you can start cutting down those sessions and actually enjoy your life. But what should you do in those actual training sessions? Well, click this video here where I'll show you exactly how to set up a perfect 2-day training split to make gains whilst minimizing time in the gym and maximizing your life.
2 days a week.